frequency than all the other ones, I believe. So
Yeah, the comp format is detailed on HiRobot. So I believe if you do exclamation comp, that will get you the direct link. You can also browse there. So you do have to press the show more button though. So he's not really improving much, is he?
yeah, I think he was at 5087 and now he's at 5089. So I don't think that's an improvement by much. I mean, it's 2 points, so it's an improvement, but not enough.
So in every stage other than memory frequency, the breakdown is 65, 60, 56, 53, 50, 47, 45, 43, 41. So 65 for first, 60 for second. Mem frequency is 65, 61, 58, 56, 54, 52, 50, 48, 46. I don't know why there's that difference. It's almost the same, but not quite.
Okay, so Demon has been pushed up to third, knocking down Biso. That doesn't mean Biso's out. He's not down by that much. He's down by about 7 points. And if people start knocking off some of Demon's scores, that could change the rankings.
Sure.
So keep that in mind. And but having said that, Demon can improve in some of them. So he's got room for improvement in, well, all of the 2 that he doesn't have 65 in, but 32M significant improvement, 7-zip, and Pi Prime are the 3 stages that I think he should run in order to get improvements. Sebi in the 109s now for Pi Prime.
Nice.
Or no, is that Pi Prime? No, that's 7-zip. Sorry. So he's in the top echelon there, knocking down. That'll put him up to third in that, I believe. 1094, 109. No, they'll put him in fourth. So he'll be just behind Biso in that round.
Yeah, so we had a question in chat whether this is the last day for the qualifier. Yes, 9 total contestants, 3 contestants per group, 2 sessions per group, so 6 total qualifying sessions. This is session 6 of 6 for the qualifier. All of the finalists will be decided right here, right now, in the coming hours. We're around 40 minutes into the session, so another 2 hours and 20 minutes to go.
I thought it was 2 hours. I could be wrong. What's the schedule say? So yeah, it's actually 2 hours. It ends at 10 after 3, so it's almost exactly 2 hours left.
So what's the length of the session then? They started at was it 10 past 2? Okay. We're having too much fun.
It was 2:30. It was 2:30, so it's 2 hours and 40 minutes long.
Ah, it's different to last year then. I'm tempted to go back to Evolve. Yeah, he's eking out a little, like a point or 2 here and there, but is there a false sense of security here? I know, Surge of the 3 had the the most comfortable first session, but still he's kind of chilling here, and I don't know if he can, given the strength of the competition. He should probably start to consider moving on to a different bench.
Yeah, Yi points out something. He had a 5091, and if he can get past 5097, he would move up a position. But I don't. You have to assume he'd have to rerun it like 5 times, assuming he's getting the same uplift each run. Yeah. Which means that's a lot of time spent on this one benchmark for one position when he could move up a lot more. I mean, he's in 2 of the stages, he's in the 40 points. So I would say that's probably a better, and he's got an empty stage in Y Cruncher. So those are the 3 I would say he really needs to focus on. His 32M isn't terrible. It's not great, but it's not terrible, but he needs to move up in some of those other stages.
Yeah, absolutely. We are early on in the session though, and we saw this morning what the top benches are capable of when push comes to shove, which sends having a remarkable sort of rebirth in the second half of the session, going from last to first essentially in some ways. It is a close competition, Natty. Absolutely agree. I have no idea who's going to qualify, and no matter which three guys qualify, I also am not at all sure who would become champion, because in the final, all the emotions and everything are heightened anyway already, but also you get half as much time to do the benches, and actually the benches are not pre-selected. These benches they've known about for a few weeks, whereas in the final, each competitor gets to pick a bench. One of the judges gets to pick a bench, and Frank at G.SKILL gets to pick a bench. So there is a predetermined list of benches. I mean, you can't just load every single bench that exists onto the SSDs, but the list is very long. You can't possibly prepare for all of them. So it's going to be an interesting mind game. Do people pick something out of left field in order to try to throw the other people off, or do they pick what they're strongest in? Yeah, he's eking out, and he does have the desktop res tweak applied, but I am starting to sense, and yeah, I think if he's going back to 1080p, that probably is the first part of him, the first step in him preparing for the next bench. So we may not see much out of Surge for a little while as he reconfigures his rig, unless he's actually going to try 1080p desktop res, which I hope he doesn't do that. No, he's still deep in the tank. All right. Let's check what else is going on. We have Sebi with a run that he's saving, so that must be worth saving. Yeah, 109.1. Not a massive improvement, but, you know. Oh, he's not saving it.
It's not an improvement. Okay. High prime.
Standard rules.
He's switching benches.
I mean, considering he has all of these stages to fill, even just getting into the 109s, he can be happy with that. Now, the issue when you're throwing out all of these scores all one after the other is each individual score good enough to then equate to an overall ranking of top 3? And that's what that mental arithmetic he'll have to keep on doing throughout the session, because it's also a moving target, right? Because he's very much so competing with the other two guys on stage as well. And there's a crash.
Ooh. Yeah, the other thing you got to keep in mind is apparently he is running the 270K, so the CPU he bought yesterday, which means it's like getting into a brand new race car that you've never driven before and having to be able to perform. So he knows that the potential's there for it to be better than his 285K, but he's not as familiar with the CPU, so he doesn't know everything that it's capable of. So it's definitely a lot of work for Sebi right now, and we see Surgeman having another go at it in the Evolve benchmark.
Yeah, Surge, he's doing a bit of a biso here by teasing us by staying on this bench. I would say far too long. I mean, I know we have some scores in the 5100s, but as far as I can see, something in the 5050 plus range is at this point good enough to move on from, and he's certainly beyond that. He's almost at the 5100. I hope he doesn't have tunnel vision and desperately want the 5100, because even though he's only 6 points away, that may be an eternity. So I'm hoping he moves on for the sake of Team Gigabyte. I hope he moves on and starts smashing out some other stuff.
Yeah, that would be really cool. I do think that I think he has the potential to do well. The problem is it only moves him up one spot.
There you go, 3 more points.
So he's tied with Black Dot right now.
Which actually doesn't matter, because earliest submission still gets ranked first, right?
Yep, as far as I know. So while that's, uh-oh, huh? Oh, I wonder if the resolution he was running at exceeded what your capture card's capable of taking in. He upped the resolution to like 4K,
Right.
which might have been the issue.
No, he's still saving his score. That was just a small option there. So Sebi's on 32M. Let's watch this. Always nice to see loops coming out.
Yep, so they've posted Sebi's 7-zip score, puts him in 4th. He did get a Pi Prime score up. Or wait, did he get a Pi Prime score out? Or did he crash? I can't remember.
We didn't see that on stream, so it's anyone's guess.
Gotcha. I'm going to check, see how his loops are looking in 32M. 175 is not bad on the init. 12.79. Let's see what Biso did. He still got the goal. Not far behind Biso, but not up with him yet either. So let's see what...
I mean, it's hard to compete with Biso, right? He's a one of a kind.
It really is. Let's see here. Let's see how he's doing against Sens. Biso is so much farther ahead of everyone else in that. If nothing else, Biso should get at least some sort of award for his 32M performance. He is very close to Sens. Actually, is it... Let's see. 7, he's at 119.1. Sens was at 119.067. So this could very well take second. If not, it's going to be third, assuming it finishes. And with that, I'm going to be right back.
Well, let's keep following 32M. Sebi needs every score he can get, so very little margin for error at this point. It is still early days in this run, though, so let's have a look at Demon. Currently adjusting InnoS timings. I wonder for... Oh, Pi Prime, yeah. So, what's his Pi Prime looking like at this point? I don't remember... He may not even have a score. I don't remember that being part of their session on Monday. So, his current Pi Prime is... It's stage 4. He has a 2-minute 18. 2-minute 18... Sounds slow, and it is slow. It is actually in 4th position. Okay, still working things out. Good to see all three rigs running smoothly for once. Pretty much in every session so far, we've had some issues, but yeah, maybe not getting the scores yet that the benches are hoping for, but. Everything's running smoothly. Whereas, yeah, I think this is probably the slower part of the day for Goodbye. They've been at it all day. So if they just take a bit of a semi-breather, then we can't blame them. Once again, all we are in West, so let's try to follow everything.
So here's the other thing. Here's the other thing we've got to keep in mind. If Sebi gets second or third in Super Pi, that bumps Demon down, but it doesn't bump Biso down. So Biso is not out of the running.
Demon, of course he's not. I don't know why you're like trying to summon up Biso being disqualified. I think he's in a good spot. He's obviously not comfortable because he's third of the 3 that potentially have already qualified, but his scores. I mean, your first instinct on this kind of thing is often right. Like, we both said that was an amazing session and he knocked out amazing scores. And just because there's been other benchers who have surpassed him in some of them since then doesn't mean that they're not good enough to qualify. I still think he's the odds-on favorite to qualify, even though we still have people benching. That's my take on that.
Well, Demon's ahead of him right now. As it sits, Demon is ahead of Biso. I'm not saying Biso's out, but I'm saying that there are definitely things that could bump Biso back up. But as it sits, Biso is out, Demon is in. I'm just saying, like, there's room for improvement everywhere, for all the benchers on the stage, but don't count out Viso. That first session, or that second session of his, was just a killer session.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the head-to-head, and unfortunately, the only direction is up for Demon in a lot of ways, because I feel like his 32M is still in quite rough shape. He's in the low 4-minute 33s, whereas Biso is in the Demon is in the high 4-minute 33s, and Biso is in the low 4 minutes 32s. And also Demon doesn't have a 109 7-zip yet. So, wow. I mean, the differences are evolve and valid. And at the time these were produced, we didn't have as much of a sense for how evolve would kind of evolve, excuse the pun. And we thought that Biso's 49.55 was a solid score, but now that we're seeing everyone above 5,000 pretty much, I can forgive him for his placeholder valid. Maybe he just ran out of time or whatever, but clearly is a measured sort of choice that he made there. He could have validated higher, but his evolve is starting to look like the real weak point in his lineup, because no one else of the potential qualifiers is below 5,000, and he is.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. His weak points were definitely valid and evolve, and like you said, looked like a solid run yesterday. We knew it wasn't going to be the winner, but it looked like a solid run, and now these guys have figured something out in the meantime. Demon throwing up a 136 on Pi Prime. So that is an improvement. He was at 138 before. So it doesn't, let me see, 136.7. I don't think it moves him up. Yeah, it doesn't move him up, but it is definitely a faster run, much more comfortable position than before. He's running at 10,000 cast 32, and I wonder if he can get his TRFC to 700. I've seen guys running that. I think even Black Dot ran 690 at one point. So
yeah, absolutely, he did.
Yeah, so there might be a little bit to squeeze out there, and that is one of those timings that you'd be surprised how big of a difference that makes. But going from 720 to 700 could absolutely net you something, especially in a benchmark like Pi Prime, which is just response to every single time you can set.
Yeah, still some work to do there, but absolutely on the right track there for Demon. Let's check. Surge has moved on. Thank the Lords. And thank the universe, basically, that he knows he has other work to do besides evolving. As much as I love the visual appeal of Evolve, it was time to move on. So we can pretty much assume that that's the end of Evolve. Maybe for the entire comp, because do the others still need to do it? Sebi, I guess.
Still needs to do
it. So depending on what's going on first of all, we hope that Sebi doesn't have any trouble and actually gets to Evolve. If he does get to Evolve, it may be quite late in the session, and we may be, having to split our attention. So, yeah, a little bit of Evolve to do, but whether it features on the stream, we'll have to see. So he's saving this score. 128 doesn't sound very fast to me, but it must be an improvement if he's saving it. Yeah, so that's stage 5, which is 5B. So he's going from no score to middle of the pack. So yeah, definitely a worthy score to throw in there. And this will jumble up the rankings quite a bit, because he's filling in an unfilled score with like a 50-pointer roughly. Not enough to get him into prime position in terms of an actual qualifying spot, but he'll go from 6th to 5th if what I have in front of myself here is correct, which is, it's all part of the process.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely worth getting the score up, like we've been saying all weekend or all week. a score, even a bad score, is better than no score, and he's still got, what, an hour and a half for improvements, more than an hour and a half for improvements. So this is by no means a dead end for Surgeman. He's got plenty of room to improve in 7-zip and Pi Prime in particular. So I think get this score in. Actually, spend a little bit more time on Y Cruncher, I would say. He passed, I think, his first attempt. So I think that's very good. And I think he should do a little bit more tweaking. You might be able to get, hopefully, in the 2:06 to 2:04 range. Hopefully give himself a little bit more breathing room on that.
And why, look at that German efficiency there. He even has subfolders for the different benchmarks. If that were me, I would barely even find the time to Control-C, Control-V the files on there. But he took the time. He's in chill out mode because he took the time to slowly type out a new folder for Y Cruncher because it was his first score. Hopefully it doesn't come back to bite him, but I do respect his level of zen and order there, because I wouldn't do that. I would be too stressed out.
So he switched to power saving mode. P core ratio. Okay. So was he running at a lower P core ratio before?
No, I think he's just reapplying the same ratio. I think he's just a little bit paranoid. He doesn't want to exceed the mandated clocks.
Gotcha.
Let's see if this finishes. I don't feel like we did kind of spend much time on Surge in the first session, because there was all kinds of... Well, first of all, he was hampered by the fact that he was, like today, in the furthest away camera position from the camera. But also, there was a little bit of drama, a little bit of excitement in the sense that Sebi had rig issues, and also Deep didn't have a smooth session. So we kind of, if I remember right, on Monday saw Surge's scores kind of trickle into the submission inbox, so to say, while the stream was ongoing, and we were refreshing the rankings. But I don't remember spending much time on his screen, unless I'm totally mistaken.
I don't think so either. Oh, excuse me. I'm pretty tired. Yeah, I don't recall spending a whole lot of time on his screen either, but definitely giving us an opportunity now. I see that Demon is in OS saving a score, so maybe we can switch there real quick and see what he's got going on.
It is an improvement.
136 on Pi Prime. Cool. So he's into... Oh, yeah, that's a low 136. So he will be in second then, right behind Sens. So that will bump him up quite a bit. He'll get 4 more points.
That's it. He's also in second in the comp.
Is he? I didn't refresh.
Yeah, so he's according to my screen, he's 3 points behind Black Dot, so he'd be 1 point ahead of Black Dot. So now things are starting to solidify. We're not talking about will Bledsoe make it. We're actually talking about will Black Dot make it in some sense, because he's about to be bumped down to third.
Wow. See, this is the exciting session. You get to see a little bit of bouncing around, seeing how people are going to get affected. Demon throwing up some great scores, and I don't know why we would have expected anything else, but it's definitely impressive to see what he's able to pull off.
How interesting that we're now sort of... I mean, at no point during any of the 2 sessions Black Dot was a part of did we see him run into any kind of trouble, or even just body language wise look tense or anything. And it almost felt like a foregone conclusion that he was qualified. But now that all the all the gloves are off and everything, and everyone's showing all their best stuff, he's quite vulnerable now, actually. And that what looked like an insane run at the time, his tweaks that bugged out my capture card, is now about to be a sort of middle of the road evolve score. It's already no longer first or second, and it may drop down to third or fourth. And then his other week score is stage 4, which is his Pi Prime, which I don't think we spent any time on when he produced it. It was just like a solid run, and there was nothing to talk about. But yeah, it's we knew it was weak in 32M and Valid even when those scores were produced, and those were 56 pointers. But yeah, I mean, it would take quite a bit of other work on the stage this afternoon, but he's starting, like his position is starting to be picked apart by the guys who are currently benching.
Yeah, and this is something we were talking about, where the last group has the advantage of knowing what they have to be. They've got a target now, whereas everyone else is just kind of, let me do the absolute best I can. These guys know what they have to do to get into the finals. And it looks like Demon is working hard to make that a reality. Oh, he got a B-sod.
Nice. Sebi, let's watch Sebi's 32M run.
Yeah, I'm going to go compare it to Iso's, which it's not going to be faster. Actually, I'll compare it to Sen's because it might be faster than Sen's. Loop 13 is 252 or 222 2. 13 225 225 4. So he's still behind Sen's at the moment, which can change, not necessarily likely, but it still can change.
Yeah, still worth finishing this run,
and
though.
This is, yeah, I mean, that'll still put him up into third, and it would put him ahead of Demon, which would bump Demon down. So that is definitely worth putting up. You've got to do that in 3 more stages after that, which is going to be rough.
Interesting times. I just don't know. I mean, it would take a lot for Sens to get knocked out, but both Biso and Black Dot are in trouble for sure. Varying degrees of trouble, but they're both under threat for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting. And it could be a situation where Sebi doesn't make it into the finals, but he bumps down the right stages that can switch up the order. And don't count out Surge Man. He's only in 5th, but he's got all of his scores in, so he's just having to improve. He's not having to get scores up. So we keep talking about Demon and Sebi, but Surge Man's still up there cooking.
Yeah, and he hasn't sort of shown his hand yet. I hope he has a higher gear because he is kind of going at a leisurely pace. That's not to say his results are bad. I mean, he needed an evolve, and he got an almost 5100 evolve, which is very, very, very solid. But yeah, the pace of his benching, I would hope can pick up speed later when it's necessary. So we are in the 4-minute 32s. That's always a good sign.
He took down Sens. He's in 2nd. Took down Sens.
Wow. Yeah, this is where, again, I have a little bit of an issue with how the rankings are calculated. You know, Bisu has this killer 32M, but he's going to end up, what, 4th, 5th? But to be fair, he did play with fire with that validation. I mean, yeah, not looking like a smart choice.
He crashed on hardware info.
Wow.
So he saved the score, but he crashed on hardware info. That's rough. That is rough. I don't know if that's going to be valid or
not. Depends on whether he showed hardware info upon boot. I don't think he did, but possibly.
Dang. That's rough. But he can theoretically duplicate the score. So it's not over till the fat lady sings, but definitely rough for him. I'm going to refresh, see if any of the rankings have changed. Still looks to be about the same. Yeah, Demon, 2 golds, a silver, I'm wondering if he's moved on to like 7-zip or 32M. Looks like he's moved on to 7-zip, if I had to guess.
And the thing about all this is, Sebi is kind of early in his 32M journey, so speed fastest is on point there. It's definitely possible for him to get first in this stage. If he already that crash run, we'll have to see if it's submittable, but he was in the 600 millisecond range, and Biso has a 488. So over the course of a 4-minute run, that 100 and something milliseconds is very, very little. Maybe just a flat rerun with an open of the hardware info before the run, please, might be good enough to get first.
They did sub his 4-minute 32.617, so I'm guessing it's considered valid because they did submit it.
Yeah. Someone's asking if that's Shaggy. Yes, it is. Shaggy is behind Matt. There we go. Shaggy and Day are watching the proceedings.
Yeah. Shaggy made a comment in Discord that he's too pretty to have his face on camera, so you just broke the camera. All right. So Biso did not take a hit. Actually, that helps Biso for Sebi to get second in Super Pie.
So we have all three benching, and all three benching 3 different 2D benchmarks. What's Demon doing with that kill all? Surely 7-zip doesn't benefit from kill all.
Yeah, I can't imagine it does.
All right. We have a new Surge Man, but that's low. Is he really saving that? Is his current 7-zip so bad he has to save a 108 low? Oof.
Yes.
I'm starting to get concerned for my German compatriot and fellow Gigabyte user. If he's spending the time to save a 7-zip that is in the bottom half of the 108s, that's a concern.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to agree with you there, but an improvement's an improvement. It actually, is it even worth saving? Is it above anyone that he's going up against? It's not. It's like, if you're not improving past the people now, Demon's is only a 108.6.
Yeah.
So 108.4 is not far off, but if you're not pulling ahead of all the other competitors.
Yeah, but it's tough to keep an eye on all the rankings and stuff.
That's true. That's true.
But one would hope that he at least remembers what his previous score was, and he's only about 200 mips up on that. Yeah, I don't know, man. This is getting dicey for Surge. Also for Sebi to some degree, the one who's cooking is Demon. But yeah, Surge, I don't know. He's going to have to show us more than he's currently showing us.
Yeah, the other thing that we've got to worry about with Sebi is he's run Super Pi, which is definitely a strong suit. It was one of his stronger benches. He's got a decent 7-zip score in, but nothing to write home about. He's in the 109s, but not. He's the lowest of the 109s as far as I can tell. He's got to get Y Cruncher still, which that's going to be a tough one.
So, yeah, Surge is going nowhere fast. His rerun was identical. So, currently not that much point in going to him. When he switches up benchmark, I will go back to him, but it doesn't seem as though he's getting anywhere with 7-zip. He should probably just pack it in at this point.
I think Sebi's 7-zip or Pi Prime score that he's getting right now is looking pretty good. He's in the low 25, so nothing crazy. But I think the stage 3 being under 75 is actually a good spot to be in. So
on pace for first. Yee, or Stats Cruncher is giving us all the intel. Nice.
Yeah, Sebi's cooking right now. So Demon and Sebi are cooking. Surgeman is simmering right now. So we gotta turn up the burners on Surgeman, get him cooking. But this is definitely looking to be a good score from Sebi.
So the scenario we were talking about earlier about Demon officially going into second and Black Dot into third is now has come to pass. So I think we're starting to get into the territory of Black Dot is under threat and Biso's already gone. And not fully, but we're very much getting there, which means we are guaranteed to have a new finals lineup, because if you remember, in the past 2 years, the finals lineup was identical. It was Sebi, Biso, and Sens. And if Biso is out, that means we have at least one person in the finals who wasn't there last year, which is always good to see. No high rate info crash this time.
Yep, Sebi is in a very close second on that run. It's 135.8, Sens is a 135.7 in first. So Sebi gets 60 points for that. He's going to bump down Demon and Black Dot on that one, which is going to hurt those guys. And he's going to bump down Biso. So he's bumping down a lot of people on that one, leaving Sens alone up there at the top. But I think there's a potential he could take down Sens here.
And isn't this crazy? I'm going to go show my browser, because we're talking about how Sebi is in the running, even though currently he's technically ranked last behind Diddy. Isn't that crazy how this competition works, where you have to kind of work off of things that are about to happen and that things that will most likely happen in the future. So this is the current rankings. I just hit F5, and what we're essentially saying is that Dede's out, Hansky's out, Spooky's out, Biso likely out, Black Dot under threat, and Sebi and Surge still in the running, and actually the reverse of the actual ranking, because Surge is not looking as strong as Sebi right now.
Yeah, I definitely think that Sebi's got a chance. Let's hope he doesn't run into any issues before the end of the session, because he still has Y Cruncher to get through, which is a tough one, and Evolve. So it's definitely heating up quite a bit. Demon is not in OS right now. He's just cooling things down. Sebi appears to be running a benchmark. I could be wrong.
Yeah, he's still on Pipe Prime.
Yeah. So that is even faster, I believe. He's in the low 74s on step 3. That could be first right there.
Yeah,
which, if you get a first now, you move on to the next benchmark. Like, it's possible that Demon or Surgeman can take you down, but it's not likely.
Yeah.
He's also running high priority instead of real time. I wonder what that's about.
So Surge has rightly given up on 5B. Let's check where he's at for Pipe Prime. Is that a hang? Maybe he's nowhere.
Pipe Prime takes 25 seconds for the first loop, roughly. So...
Yeah, I know that. I just sort of assumed that he was, like, sort of almost done with the first step, because we went there. Oh, 29. That looks rough.
29. That is bad. Wow. Oh, did Sebi crash? He
looks
might have
it.
Crashed. Demon's on 32M, and he's restarting it. Oh, this is interesting. Oh, Sebi's moving on to Y Cruncher. He's happy with whatever he got in Pipe Prime.
And rightfully so.
Yep. I think that's a good call, because this is going to be a really tough one. Yeah, the gap from Demon to Black Dot isn't insurmountable. It's only 8 points. So if the right people chip off some points from Well, Black Dot's still safe right now. Biso is in rough shape. He's down by 11 points from third.
Yeah, at this point, Biso needs to hope for some disqualification, some scores being pulled and stuff. He needs some outside help for sure. But Black Dot also isn't comfortable at all.
Yeah, this is definitely heating up. I'm pretty sure Demon's safe. If Surgeman somehow starts pulling tricks out of his hat, he might not be. Sebi could definitely dethrone Black Dot, but it's no guarantee at this point. Black Dot has all third and fourth position rank, or no, second, third, and fourth position rankings. He's got 1/4. Or wait, no, he's got 2/4, 2/3, and 2 seconds. So that averages out to third in every stage.
So Demon is challenging for 32M first, so we'll stay on this unless it crashes.
Okay, and just a heads up, Sebi's 7-zip or Pi Prime has been posted, so that puts him up into second for Pi Prime. That knocks Black Dot down even farther, but it also knocks down Demon farther. So it's actually more costly for Demon than Black Dot. Black Dot lost 3 points for that. Demon lost 4.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna compare loops because I feel like the 32M that is maybe about to be broken has been kind of in place in situ there at the top of the rankings for a long time. So let's go into detail on this. So loop 11-2-3-1. No, he's slower now. He's slower. It's not going to speed up in the second half. I mean, we'll watch it finish anyway because Demon's existing run is probably a lot slower than this, but I don't think there's much of a chance of a first place out of this anymore. It would have to speed up an insane amount.
True, but it could take second place away from Sebi still.
So yeah, what rank? Oh, not a convergent. Okay, well that nixes that idea.
Never mind.
How much of an improvement is Demon aiming for here? What's his current ranking in that stage?
He is really low actually. He's last or second to last? No, third from last.
Yeah, he needs to loosen up a lot of tertiaries and things and hit rerun because he's not a million miles away from passing, and pretty much any pass at these settings will be a massive improvement for him then.
Absolutely. I think that's a stage where he could settle for third behind Sebi and still be happy with where he is, because Sebi still has to get through Y Cruncher, and he has to get through Evolve. So that's a tough spot to be in. Not insurmountable. Sebi's posting up some good scores, but definitely a lot of work still to do.
Yeah, like, okay, a 26 first stage is a lot better than the 29 we saw earlier, but that still seems rough. I thought we were seeing 25s and 24s with some of the other benchers.
Oh, and he crashed. He B-sodded.
Whoa. Yeah, Surge is officially in trouble now. The other two are cooking. So he's both currently not in a qualifying position against the benchers who are already done with their last session, and also kind of losing ground in a sense virtually to the other two. So he's in a lot of trouble now.
Yeah, this is basically Sebi has to get second or third in the rest of his subs, and Demon just has to improve. 32M is definitely the one. He has a lot of room for improvement. He could easily get 10 more points from an improvement there. So actually it would be 11. If he took third, it would be 11. So that would be...
I mean,
that would mean he has to beat Sens, which is hard.
Sens looked super comfortable earlier, and I know rankings don't matter, but it's certainly within the realms of possibility that Demon takes first away from him in the overall ranking. He's not that far behind.
Yeah, it's definitely within the realm of possibility. I think where he would have to get that is in 32M and in 7-zip. I think those are the two areas where he could more easily get those points back.
True.
So it's going to be interesting to see which benches he chooses if he can get his 32M up really fast, which he's currently working on.
Yeah, absolutely. So maybe just the head-to-head comparisons quickly. Demon already is beating Sens in Evolve. He's beating him in Stage 5, which is 5B. So no point in focusing on those. He already has super strong scores there. Stage 4 is the Pi Prime, so it's he's only 300 milliseconds behind. Pi Prime is worth taking a look at, but like you say, the 32M is a big one, and valid. I mean, he's only 100 real clocks behind in valid. So if he has time to play with at the end of the session, there are actually 4 total stages that he's behind in. But if he does put out, I mean, 109.4 in 7-zip, I think is a tall task. No one else is anywhere near that. We have 108s, we have 109.1 XXs, a lot of those. So I feel like 7-zip is the most untouchable of Sens' scores in relation to Demon. I don't know what Sebi is cooking up. Like, skip 7-zip, skip Evolve and 5B, of course, because you're already beating him there. So Pi Prime and 32M are the prime targets. And if you have time, maybe have a quick play in valid, because he's not a million miles away in that one.
Yeah, there's definitely room for improvement. The reason I said 7-zip is not because I think he can beat Sens. It's because if he can take second, that improves him 7 points.
Yeah, absolutely. His 7-zip is quite a bit down on a lot of other guys. Yeah, but I was just making the comparison specifically between the two, and I will stop interrupting you now. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, that's fine. That's fine. That was a good point. In comparison to Sens, yeah, I would say Pi Prime is your best shot. He's not far behind, but if you want just sheer points to try to knock Sens down in another way, I think 32M and 7-zip are the play. And I think you're absolutely right. There's room for improvement on his valid, so that would be my third choice. I would not try to challenge him in... I would not try to challenge him in Pi Prime personally, just because there's... You could take second, but it's going to be difficult. Because Sebi is really close to Sens. Sebi's got a better chance of taking down Sens and Pi Prime than Demon does. Demon has a lot of work to do to get even to Sebi in Pi Prime. That's
300 milliseconds in a 2-minute plus run surely is achievable, isn't it?
It's achievable, but it's not where I personally would focus. I'm not saying that would be a bad strategy. It's just not what I would choose to do.
I mean, absolutely, it is a tougher target than 32M. Don't get me wrong. However, by process of elimination, it should certainly be on the menu. I mean, my let's say order of priorities would be 32M, then a little play in 7-zip, but if you don't get anywhere, move on to Pi Prime. And then if you have time left, go back to 7-zip or do a valid. And valid is always tough to switch to because it's a totally different kind of bench, so I would certainly forgive him for not going back to that. But I feel like Pi Prime has got to be attempted at least. For how long? That's a whole different sort of discussion. But yeah, we have Sebi. Let's go back to Sebi. He's also cooking something up. I was back to 7-zip. I was struck by how quickly Demon was applying his 32M tweaks there. I was having a hard time keeping up with all of the power tweaks and things. And just to mention it, I hadn't seen... I don't know if it's a personal preference thing or if it's actually a tweak, but did you notice that he maximized the benchmate window just before minimizing it and then hit run? I haven't seen that before. That's an interesting one.
Yeah, I'm not sure. This is a minor improvement. It's a 1 point improvement for Sebi.
Wow.
1 point. Sebi, I think you're barking up the wrong tree with this. Not allowed to do that. Not allowed to do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
What do you do?
Sebi, he increased the BCLK.
Okay. It's not going to help anyway, is it?
I think he did. I think he did increase the BCLK. I could be wrong, but
I mean,
a big no-no.
At least on Twitch there is that function where you can like go on live. Like, if any viewer feels like looking back at that, you can go back in the timeline and watch like 5 minutes ago or whatever. But yeah, I think he went from whatever it booted to 100.075. Yeah, there's Annie. Okay.
Yeah, that's...
We may have to inform the judges. What's his effective clock? That's hold on.
6004.50. But man, jeez, that stinks.
Yeah,
that's not worth it either.
Yeah, I didn't have but I mean, I don't really understand. Like, would he otherwise not be able to post these memory settings? Like, just if you're gonna go to 107, as long as it keeps your effective clock below the limit, it's legal. But it's got to be booted into OS.
Yeah, I don't. I'm not. And you know what's crazy? Well, first of all, that's not an improvement. Sebi, I really hope I missaw that. I don't think I did. I really hope I missaw that.
I'm rewinding my own Twitch stream to check it. You keep talking. I need to find the spot in the stream.
So that guy, JD says he went down from 100.83, which would be probably 100.083 to 100.075. But
that's allowed. Going down is allowed. Going up is not.
Okay. Okay. I'm. It should be checked, but I hope that's what he did. I don't think Sebi would do something like that, but I also know in the heat of the moment, you're kind of gonna try to do anything you can to win.
Yeah, I saved a timestamp so I can go back to the exact spot in the VOD if necessary later on. And the sub, I hope the sub just gets superseded. Then we don't have to do all this futzing about. But yeah, in case that sub stands as his best 7-zip, we'll have to have the judges take a look. All right, let's see what everyone else is doing. Let's go back to Surge. I don't think he's really on a heater, but let's just see how bad things are, basically.
I mean, he's in the 25s on his first loop, but that's the high 25s, so that's not a good sign. And the 51 should be in the 50s, so he's just over the 51 threshold. Not looking great.
How is Surge's existing score, though? This may still be an improvement.
I'm sure it will be. Oh, man.
Can't even pass that.
He's having a hard time.
To watch Demons, in all this controversy, we forgot that Demon may potentially have a good 32M on the go. Loop 22, I think it's going to pass. Is it fast enough to also improve upon the current first?
It's ahead of Sens. Loop 23, 414. It's not ahead of Biso. So it's a big improvement for him. It'll boost him up 15 points and knock Sens down 3.
36
So that's a net 18. That's a net 18 points.
Wow.
Compared to Sen's.
Wow. That means 18 points means he's 3 points behind Sen's. I think.
Oh my goodness.
Considering how strong all the scorers are now, I think we have to start talking about the fact that Biso is essentially out, and Black Dot is not just worried; he's very much on the edge as well. What's with this benchmate window maximization thing? I don't know what it does. Like, it's an odd.
So this
sort
is
of tick
interesting.
to have.
You say Biso's out, but this run actually helps Biso because Demon doesn't beat Biso, but he takes down Sen's and Black Dot in the rankings, but doesn't hurt him. So that actually is going to get Biso closer to Black Dot in score.
True, but what's the gap? 11 points is a lot to make up without either bench or benching. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I don't see it.
I'm not. Look, it's unlikely that he gets bumped back into the top 3, but I'm saying it's not impossible.
Who else is benching? Let's go back to Surge. We do have a black screen for Sebi. Is that just a reboot, or has he applied Evolve tweaks? I don't think he's going back to Evolve, is he? He already has a Evolve, doesn't he?
He does not have Evolve. Nope.
Okay, we'll have to keep an eye on that. So
yeah, Sebi is currently second to last because he's missing Y Cruncher and Evolve.
Who's killed my world record stage camera? God damn it. So we've been live an hour and a half. We're basically halfway through the session. Let's go back to Surge. Oh, not Sebi, Surge, the other S person. I'm going to have a look at this bench, but just to pre-warn you, I do need to take a break soonish. So if this is nothing special, it looks like he's about to just cancel it, so not a good sign. He's wiggling his mouse. Is he having some sort of code bug issue? You wouldn't do that unless you wanted to put extra load on the system to stop it from code bugging. Yeah, no,
that's a bad run.
He's having some sort of he's not tearing down, but he's having some sort of rig issues. Okay.
He was at 57 mega or 5.7 gigahertz.
Can
57 multi.
Can Paul or someone check if? Well, I'll just pass by and check what Sebi's doing, but because it seems to me he's applying a similar tweak to Black Dot, and that's breaking the capture chain. Let's stay on this view. I gotta go pop out for a bit. I'll pass by the stage on the way back and see what's going on. But yeah, interesting times.
Yeah, for sure. So it's definitely getting spicy. Black Dot. I am so finishing 4th. Look, not necessarily. You still have a shot. Surge Man is not improving much. Can't beat a Sebi in that form. Sebi still has to finish his benchmarks though, and you never know when a session can go wrong. So, there's still a chance. You've still got a chance, and you've still got some strong scores up. Yeah, I know Sebi too. He's very good. He's also, so this is something, I don't think he's going to do this, but he has been known to kill hardware before. It's definitely happened. So, and he's got some of the hardest benchmarks to get through. He's still got to put up Y Cruncher, and he's still got to put up Evolve. Evolve is, I don't want to say it's a slot machine, but it's definitely a challenging one. And Y Cruncher is very challenging to pass, so. It's possible Biso is mathematically out of the running. It's gonna depend on a number of things. Demon's 32M score when it gets posted. Demon's 32M got posted. Why is it in 3rd? Oh, or 2nd. Sorry. Wait. Who's in 2nd? Oh, Sebi got 2nd. That's right. So Demon is in third. So that's not quite as big of a boost as I was expecting. And it did help out Biso compared to Black Dot, but not a whole lot. So this is going to come down to a Sebi versus Black Dot scenario. That's basically what it looks like. And it does... you've got to give each of them credit because Black Dot holds the position, but Sebi has the chance to come back and fight, whereas Black Dot doesn't. So it's definitely worth keeping an eye on. And Surge Man, I mean, you can't ever count him out. He's got that memory valid up that is incredible, but he's not performing well in the other benchmarks. And you can't be strong in you can't be a one-trick pony in this. You've got to be able to do stuff in all the benchmarks. So 32M, we got Biso, Sebi, Demon, and then Sens. Sens still holds 7-zip in Pi Prime. He's second in Valid and Evolve. Demon posting a crazy 5130 in Evolve. You would have placed yourself there before going. Seems you were right. So, Black Dot, you say you would have placed yourself in fourth before going. Did you expect the three that you think are going to be ahead of you to be ahead of you, or would you have swapped out some of the contenders? Well, I'm curious. Surge suffering the Gigaboard curse. I believe that's possible. Gigabyte has a way of having some funny stuff go on. Seems everyone is where they should be, in your opinion. Yeah, I mean, you gotta say, Hansky, Spokey, and Day to Day, they put up good showings for being rookies, but that is what they are, is rookies. This is their first time here. All the other competitors have been here before. I think last year was Black Dot and Demon's first years participating in the live sessions. So definitely good to see them improving year over year. Black Dot, did you get fourth last year? I think you got fourth or fifth. I can't remember. It was a crazy time. But let's see here. You got sixth last year. So even if you get fourth, that's an improvement. So something to be proud of. And you did an amazing showing. We thought for sure, and you're still not out of the runnings. You're still not out. We thought for sure at the end of this last session you were a shoo-in. You and Sens. And then I would not have picked Demon, and this is no crash against Demon, and I'll say this, Demon is exceeding my expectations. I always thought he was a very strong bencher, but he is surpassing what I had expected, especially after his first session. So he's playing it cool and doing very, very well. And actually giving Sens a run for his money in the rankings. He's only 7 points behind Sens. So despite the fact that Sens was able to pull something out of his hat, he's doing it. Demon is definitely putting in some work. I'm curious what he's working on now. Is he working on, I think he's working on 7-zip, which is what I would do. 1080p is gone again. That's going to be up to Unity to figure out when he gets back. I think he's probably working on the camera for the world record stage. So I keep refreshing the page to see if anyone's posted up some new scores. It's currently pretty static. Surgeman seems to be sitting still. Yeah, Surgeman is down in the dumps in 3 of the 5 stages, and in the other in 2 of the other 3, he's not in a very strong position. I wouldn't say he's in a bad position, but he's not in a strong position, so he's got some work to do. Sebi just needs to stop worrying me. He's down to 1 hour, and he still has to do Evolve and Y Cruncher. So what I would do if I were him is I'd figure out Y Cruncher, get a good score in there, and then run Evolve. Because like I've been saying all weekend, in theory, if you can pass it in Y Cruncher, you can pass it in everything else. I'm not sure if that's true. Black Dot, I'm curious, what did you think of Evolve as one of the benchmarks? Since you're in chat, if you're able to give us some feedback as far as how you think of it as a memory benchmark, since that's what we've got going on this year. You really liked it. Good. I'm glad to hear that. That's actually really awesome. Did you see a lot of scaling? I'm not going to ask you to give away any tweaks that you may have found, but was there a lot of scaling? Seems to scale well and react actually to timings. Cool. Good, good. Love to hear it. Very, very glad. Good feedback. I'm glad the guys from Evolved have been working with HardwareBot in getting this benchmark up, and I'm really glad to see that it was able to be implemented.
Well, you're getting to see a nice little show with all the models and all that. I just had a little walk across the entire stage. That left camera is cursed because someone keeps dropping like bags on top of the extension board and like that unplugs it. But I did manage to fix it. There's a massive crowd out in front. It was really challenging to get to the left side of the stage and crawl through. Yeah, Surge was not looking fantastic. The other two guys are locked in, but when I passed by, yeah, when I passed by, both screens are blank, so I actually don't know what they're sort of working on right now. Demon's booting up. Let's have a look there. Still trying to get a 32M out? No. Onto 7-zip. Okay. What did I miss, guys? Sebi's still in 8th, so not much seems to have happened. Sebi is my model.
All right, Demon back on the 7-zip train. I think that's a good call.
I think so. What's his current score? Oh, that's right. This was the whole discussion we were having between Demon and Sens. He hasn't. I mean, his 32M that beats Sens but not Biso is legit, right? It's just not on the rankings yet. Is that the case?
It is legit and it is on the rankings, but Sebi is ahead of Demon by what?
Wow.
70 milliseconds.
Okay. Yeah, it's like a lot is happening, but also a lot isn't happening.
Yeah, I mean, Sebi needs to get out his Y cruncher score. That's hopefully what he's working on, because if he doesn't get that out, he's in big trouble. And Black Dot is in chat, and he said he basically resigns himself to 4th. But I told him, you never know what can happen mid-session. Something can go wrong. So,
oh, decoding error. That's a rare one.
Sebi's messing with his system. Is he swapping CPUs? Sebi's got another system up. Sebi, if you look, he's got another pot mounted. He's got 2 systems set up. So he's probably got his spare board with his spare CPU and his spare pot ready to go for other benchmarks. It might be for valid or something, but yeah.
Yeah, there's something going on there. I'm totally not
Still
zooming in
running.
because of the models. This is literally this is because of Sebi, in case anyone gets the wrong idea.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting to see. Did he produce a score and he's calling a judge over, or is he discussing some failures? looks like Demon is saving a score.
Yeah.
Just
no, he's starting a run. This Demon is starting a new run.
Just finished saving. Yeah, he had a bunch of other tabs open though right before you clicked his screen. So let's see what he's able to pull out. Any updates in the rankings? Nothing yet.
Starting to kind of, I mean, it's early days, right? But it's less than an hour left now. So
yeah, I'm not sure early days is the right phrase.
It's starting to look like a Sens Demon. Help me out here. Who's the third going to be? I've lost track. Bisso's out, right? Like Sens Demon Black Dot finals. Is that right? Is that what we're looking at here?
It's at the moment, yeah, because I don't know what Sebi's doing right now. He's been he's been out of the operating system for quite some time, and he needs to get White Cruncher in. So we're gonna have to see.
Yeah, so it's odd. It's like the session started out so strong to the point where I almost thought we'd get, 2 qualified from the session, but or maybe even 3. But now I'm sort of thinking the only person who's still delivering at the moment is Demon. George is way out at sea.
Yeah.
I mean, I know.
He crashed on trying to boot, that poor guy. Oh, that's rough.
So we have Sebi gesticulating at his rig and smiling. So what's Demon up to? Let's watch. I mean, his last run was in 108s, but let's watch this score pop up.
Yeah, this is gonna hopefully be good. It's not as easy to tell with the MIPS.
What always gets me with 7-zip is how there's like 2 22s and 2 23s or something. No, that's not good enough. Yeah, he's still working on that.
Yeah, that's not an improvement for him. So it looks like somebody said Sebi's setting up his other CPU for his 32 or his White Cruncher run, but it did not look like that for Sebi from what we just saw. So yeah, Black Dot, don't count yourself out just yet. Sebi has a lot of work to do still, and he's got less than an hour to do it. He's got 50 minutes. So.
Okay. I'm trying to get eyes on the camera really is well positioned for it. Let's focus on our other 2 contestants then, Sebi and Demon. Demon's a machine. Sebi is on struggle street right now, and so Surge is on an even bigger struggle street, but Demon's just chugging away at every task in front of him. And the stretch goal is definitely valid, but I certainly anticipate him improving his 32M and maybe even 5 prime.
Good to see a Black Dot have a good walk, and you're going to find out in the next 50 minutes or so if you have made it to the finals. Sebi is... I don't know if he's laughing at himself. He seems to be struggling quite a bit.
He had rig issues last year as well. This is starting to become a theme. I don't know what happened in the year that he won. I wasn't commentating then. I wasn't watching in any sense because there wasn't a stream. But last year he also kind of had these kind of issues. So now he's...
Yeah, he definitely did have issues in the finals last year. That kind of... He and Biso both had issues, which kind of handed Sens the victory last year. So,
yeah.
Hopefully, I don't even see him booting or posting right now.
Yeah, very far away from that. Let's focus. Even though I'm not a fan of Kill All, let's see what Demon has going on here in 7-zip. He's He's trying to improve, and it's a good stage to focus on. But so far, no returns. The runs are bumping up and down, but he's not even able to match his currently posted result, which is a 109.1 XX, I believe.
Yeah. I think if he doesn't get better results here soon with this, I would just, I don't know, move on to valid. But he's kind of in a position to where he can't get knocked out unless one of his scores gets pulled. But he's sitting pretty. He's a good 30 or 20 points ahead of Black Dot, 21 points ahead of Black Dot. So it's between Sebi and Black Dot at this point to get into the finals.
He didn't. Lumi says he did improve, so there is a 109.237 up. But did that actually get him anything? It might be below the other 109s that he's trying to beat, right?
Yeah, I don't think that got him any places because he was at 109.19.
He is guarding against the Sebi improvement, though, so that's still a worthy of his time, I feel like.
True, but I don't think Demon has to worry about Sebi. I think Black Dot does.
Yeah, but Black Dot isn't benching right now, so...
True.
He's actually going for a walk. He's very far away from being from benching. No, as in like... no, thank you. What I'm trying to say is, because placement within the 3 doesn't matter, and he's currently second, and Surgeman is in a world of hurt, the only person he is directly competing against right now is Sebi. Sen's not currently benching, Black Dot is not currently benching. So it kind of makes sense in a way for him to run 7-zip because Sebi, that's also one of Sebi's improvement targets, potentially.
I think Sebi's improvement target is booting at this point.
I shouldn't really laugh, but it is kind of true. Demon, don't know what he's aiming for here, but whatever he's trying to do, it's not working.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be able to actually get a better run in. So it looks like he might finally be throwing in a towel and getting ready to switch benches. What bench he's going to switch to, I'm not sure.
He's already put up his 32M run. It's not first, but it's certainly good enough for qualification. So it's kind of slim pickings because he's already first in Evolve, which seems crazy to talk about because he, for the longest time, was the guy on 1,000 score. Maybe that was a sandbag. He is the only person in the 2-minute 3 range for 5B, so certainly not going to do anything there. I mean, he could have a pipe prime play if his game plan is to have a go at every bench, since he's already done 32M and he's already working on 7-zip. Pipe prime is the logical next place in a sense. However, I wouldn't put it past him to revisit 32M. It just depends on what his mood is and whether he wants to push hard or cruise, because I sort of feel like he's qualified. It's a question of Black Dot versus Sebi in a lot of ways. No longer is his qualification in doubt, I would imagine, unless you see some sort of path to him being knocked out, because we would need 2 people to improve significantly in the standings, and Serge is just too far away from that right now.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's through. My thoughts on the 32M is I'm guessing he's not going to rerun it because I don't know if you remember earlier how many not exact rounds.
There we go, pipe prime. Yes, I called it.
Failures.
This is the right. This is the right bench to move on to. Yes, let's do it.
Fair enough. Yeah, I don't think 32M would be the right move. He barely got his 32M in. Is he increasing?
No, he's decreasing.
Okay.
He's essentially, and a lot of the Zeus benchers have been doing that. He's trying to guard against the effective clock in benchmate drifting too high. And he obviously has 100.0 flash selected in bias, but there is some clock drift, and he's he's correcting down the B clock in OS post the fact, because I don't know if you want to mess with trying to post below 100. That gets funky quick as well. So the right approach is just to boot flat 100, and if it drifts high, correct it in OS downwards.
Yeah, speed fast, and it is against the rules. Oh, B-side. It is against the rules to increase BCLK in OS. You can decrease it, but you're not allowed to increase it. They're enforcing a strict limit on BCLK, and you cannot exceed 6,005 megahertz, so 6.005 gigahertz. So they have to guard against that, and every system has a little bit of drift on the base clock. So sometimes you're going to have to decrease that, probably almost bench specific. So that's definitely something to keep an eye on. I still don't see Sebi getting into OS, which, if he's got that other system right there, and he's not able to get into OS on that one, I would just swap systems.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh wait, he is in OS. I think he's in OS.
He is not, or his camera, his capture chain is borked. I can do a reinitialization of the capture card. Otherwise, I am out of options. I'm not gonna mess around with the cables.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's in OS, and yeah, I think it's probably a capture card issue, which isn't the end of the world. We'll be able to see the scores come up as he posts them, but he doesn't look like he's having fun, but it does look like he's actually going somewhere, so that's a plus.
Yeah, he may have chosen to directly connect his monitor. That's certainly a possibility. Getting a black screen out like that is unusual. I usually get a no signal, but then again, I haven't tested my capture cards under every scenario that exists, so... So, Demon kind of did a fake out. He started pipe rhyme. Obviously didn't like what he was seeing, and now he's back in his favorite pastime, which is 7-zip. But I don't think he's gonna get the returns unless he was able to tighten a timing he wasn't able to tighten earlier. I don't expect an improvement here.
Yeah, I don't either. I think he's barking up the wrong tree. Could be wrong. He knows a lot more than I. Yeah,
horrible score.
That's a bad score. Terrible score.
So we kind of don't have anyone to go to here. I mean, we can partake in Surge's suffering, but I feel like that's cruel at this point. Let's see what he's doing. It's always interesting to see people's troubleshooting process. He is very, very, very likely out at this point, but let's see what he's sort of working on here.
Yeah, he's in rough shape. I mean, if you think about it, he's splitting the field. He's in 5th right now. We expect Sebi to bump up ahead of him, which would put him down to 6th, but that's assuming Sebi gets his scores in, which we're not entirely sure is going to happen. Correct. I don't know if there's anyone on the showroom floor watching things happen live.
Paul is usually in chat, and I saw him next to the stage, so maybe Paul can provide some feedback.
It's possible, yeah. It's definitely, I'm curious as to what Sebi's up to, but he's not visible right now. So, yeah, that's weird. We're seeing Surgeman go for 7-zip as well as Demon. So, similar benchmarks right now. Hopefully Surgeman can get a decent score up.
I'm already, I mean, maybe as a bit of a behind-the-scenes type story, I'm already running the contestants' rigs through my best capture card in terms of reliability, so I can't swap input. Really, I very much doubt that input is dead. I can do a little bit of software debugging, but in terms of anything else, he may very well have pulled the splitter, the HDMI splitter. That wouldn't surprise me. Demon.
Yeah, he doesn't look upset, so I'm assuming life isn't complete hell for him, but...
Demon has half an hour left. Isn't this the point in time where you sort of YOLO it and start to clean up whatever you have left to clean up. Ooh. Is that an improvement? I think that's his first 109
No.
too. No, there was that sub that came in off stream, but he's at least getting close.
Yeah.
So there's a
Subby's definitely in OS, and I think he's running Y Cruncher. It's just a capture card issue, whether it's the cable unplugged or something else. But maybe I can DM Paul.
Yeah, slip into his DMs. He always enjoys that.
Yeah. Let's see here. Where is he on my list? He can't be that far down. There he is.
We have Benchmark there as well. So, just to summarize the late listeners, I think it's sort of fair to say we have Sens and Demon, unless a massive moderation thing is going to happen. I think Sens and Demon are safe in the final, so congrats to them. Then, definitely eliminated, we have Dede, Hansky, Spokey, and Bis. Again, unless there's a massive thing that happens. Sad to see my main man. So after his big session yesterday, not actually qualify. That is a bit sad to see. As per the live rankings, we have Black Dot certainly in the runnings, and Surge is in the kind of weird position of having scores up everywhere, but being a little bit too pedestrian with most of his scores, barring the validation. He has nothing above a 53 pointer. So if Sebi can't get his rig running, then Black Dot is in sort of by default. If Sebi can show the kind of pace he was showing earlier in this session, then Black Dot is likely out. But we are running extremely short on time. So I would call Black Dot the odds-on favorite, especially seeing Sebi touch his head there in frustration.
So I've talked to Paul, and apparently he is running Y Cruncher. He was under the same impression that we were, that he couldn't boot, but it was that the capture card wasn't working and he couldn't see the screen. And Paul says he heard he passed one time but started Y Cruncher before Benchmate was ready.
Oof.
So that's a rough one. But if he passed once, in theory he should be able to pass again. So let's hope that works. And he's going to have to get a Y Cruncher and an Evolve run in, though, in the next 30 minutes or less. Or it's about 35 minutes.
Yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add his capture card as like a small little window on this view, and I'll start messing around with settings. I don't... Ooh, I think it's back. Hold on. Hold on. No, that was Demon. Okay, let me first do a little bit of housekeeping and rename all the inputs so actually they match up.
Man, okay. He is dead set on getting a better 7-zip score. Or that's Pi. Oh, this is Surgeman for Pi Prime.
Yeah, let's give him his due and just check in on him briefly in case he's figured out his issues. That's always a possibility. Like we mentioned earlier, about a 25-26 second wait for the first stage. No, that's not an improvement. Okay, well, sucks to be him. We have Sebi back. Let's go to Sebi.
Okay. So he's getting into Y Cruncher. We don't know if it's fully stable yet.
I mean, he's gotten into the 20% range, which is, you know, sometimes Y Cruncher insta-fails. So now we're at 40. What does he need here? How low of a score can he just save and move on from?
I don't know. He's at 224, and he needs to get to 332 to match or beat Black Dot. So, oh, wait.
That's a fail, isn't it? It didn't go to 100%.
Okay.
Or maybe it's not.
So he had to restart.
Oh, yeah.
But, so he's going to need to... Here's the thing that's rough. The 2 stages he has left, Black Dot has good scores in.
Yeah.
So even if he gets 100 points, 50 in each, he's behind by 8. Or, yeah, he's behind by 8. So he's got to get at least, and I think he said this, 53 in one and 56 in the other.
But hold on.
To beat Black Dot.
Demon is hot on the heels of Black Dot in 7-zip. So if he's able to pass Black Dot in 7-zip, he would actually help Sebi, because that's a big difference. So then Black Dot would lose 7 points. Is that enough? Let's just assume Demon passes Black Dot in 7-zip. And let's assume that Sebi gets 2 scores in the remaining stages that are behind Black Dot. Is that enough? Or it gets really, really close, doesn't it?
This is really tough. Sebi just has to get scores up. And let me see what he has to do to get... If Demon bumps down Black Dot loses
7 points
in 7-zip, 3 points. So that puts Sebi 105 points behind, which means he would need 53 and 53 or somewhere around there. Which means in Y Cruncher, to get 53, he would need 2-minute 4.9, which is very reasonable. That would be beating Biso. And the other guys are in the 2-minute 4.1s. So Biso's score while in the 2-minute 4s is a big gap to Sens, who is next up. And then in Evolve, to get 53, he would have to beat Surgeman, who's at 50.85, which is not easy, but it is doable. I think his better play... He's on the bubble.
Yeah.
Sebi is on the bubble if he can't get things to pass, but that does require Demon to pass Black Dot in 7-zip right here.
I think he needs help because he essentially is currently behind Black Dot in all 3 of those stages, including 7-zip. I don't think he'll have time to go back to 7-zip, so he kind of he basically either needs to beat Black Dot in both Evolve and 5B, or one of the 2 plus help from Demon. So it's starting to get really iffy because the time... we're finishing at 5:10, right? So we have 32 minutes left, is that right? A lot of time.
Yes, 32 minutes. That's not a lot
Demon,
of time, especially
266. Is that enough? Yes, he's just beaten Black Dot by 6 points.
Oh my gosh, he's helping Sebi. Wait,
the stars are aligning.
Did it crash?
The stars are aligning. I don't think it crashed.
I think it...
Did it?
Yeah, it did. He just put his head in his hands. I think it crashed.
He may not have been keeping temp because the thing was at idle. He probably, because he's 2-potting it, he may have just let the temp drift while he was trying to save the score, and it was enough to crash the system at idle. This is like...
Oh my gosh.
This is cinema right here. This is just getting crazy.
In Sebi, basically Sebi, you need an okay score in 2 benchmarks. Actually, you do have to get good scores in both of the benchmarks, but they don't have to be golds. So,
wow.
Here's the thing. This is something Sebi kind of has in common with Biso, is he doesn't settle for good. He only wants the best. And at some point, you kind of got to like cut your losses and just get a good score in.
So let's talk tomorrow, just briefly. Demon consistently has gone for the position closest to camera. Sens like the middle, and Black Dot likes the far position. So in a way, that finals lineup is kind of very harmonious because they won't be fighting over seats or standing positions because everyone has their little corner of the little piece of land, you know, already carved out. Whereas if the lineup is Demon, Sens, and Sebi, Sens and Sebi have, you know, a fist fight to determine who gets what.
Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be tough. We still have to see if Sebi can get his Y cruncher running. I want to see one pass, even if it's not like his best score. I want to see what kind of ballpark he's in. Here's the other thing. If he does get the gold in Y cruncher, which will not be easy, Demon is crushing it in that. It's not even close. So if he can beat Demon in that knocks Demon down, but more importantly, it means he does not have to put up a great evolve score.
Correct. I mean, everything has to go right from here on in. Yeah. We do have to keep eyes on Demon, not because he's under threat in any way, just because what he's working on has implications for Sebi. Surge has gone on to 32M. Let's just have a look at his loops. They look okay-ish to me, not great. Let's pull up a comparison to Black Dot, let's say. Because I think Surge in certain situations can also play spoiler.
He's actually in spitting distance of Sense. He's behind Sense, but he's in spitting distance. So this is actually a pretty strong 32M score.
Yeah, I think he's kind of out of the runnings for the finals. What we haven't talked about so far is that he can play spoiler for either Black Dot or Sebi potentially, but it is a fail. Okay, Sebi's run is about to be spit out. Let's have a look.
Come on.
That's a good score.
123.7. That is a great score. That
First
is
place,
behind
right?
Demon.
Oh,
but
just
it's
about.
second. It's second behind Demon.
But
that gets him up to 60 points.
It's only the second 2 minute and 3 second run so far, right?
Correct. He is just behind Demon. He's got to move on to Evolve now. He's running out of time.
I mean, behind Demon is a great place to be in terms of that stage because his score is absolutely killer. Let's make sure. I mean, yeah, we have.
So let me do some quick math.
We have all eyes on his rig. I think the judges are also aware that they don't want to waste any time. They want him to get his score, cut and dried, and then he has to potentially do a lot of things like pull the display out card and things like that to get Evolve set up. So it's not trivial what we're asking of him to produce, but there's also the potential of an assist from either Surge or Demon.
Okay, so I did the math. With the rankings the way they are, with Sebi getting that score, he needs 44 points in Evolve.
That's easy.
Which is almost trivial. Like, it's not dead last, but he's got to beat Spokey, essentially. And that'll put him up into third.
Let's just make sure.
So that's definitely
that's
doable.
So why is he opening Mem Tweak It? Is he really thinking about a rerun? I think that's crazy.
Dude.
Because Mem Tweak It settings don't persist between boots. If he were considering, moving on to Evolve, he wouldn't even open that. Yeah, he's actually doing a rerun. What a madman. He's the American Bisso, you're right.
Oh my gosh.
Hit reboot, please. My heart, it can't take it.
Oh my my gosh, he's doing it. Oh, coefficient too large. Just don't even try, man. Don't even try. He's trying. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Just run
Nerves
a ball,
of steel.
beat Spokey, and call it a day. Ah, he's stressing me out. This can't. Okay, I have to use the restroom. I'll be right back, but this cannot cost him qualifying.
Wow. Let's check in on the world record stage. Here's the two long fellows having a little chat. Now what is he doing? I sort of think Demon might be packing it in. I think he knows he's done enough. He's zorching up. I think that last sort of strange little issue with 7-Zip where he may have let the pots get too warm either got to him or told him he's had enough. Is Sebi confident this is, I mean, I'm just not sure this is the right use of his time, but as long as he's still in OS and doesn't have a hard crash, if he recovers his system from a hard crash and then goes back to 5V, I think we can officially call him totally insane. But this is still within the realm of what I find acceptable. While you were gone, Matt, I sort of posed the question of, I feel like Demon may be sort of just tearing down. He's sorting up his system. I think he knows he's done enough, and that what was it, 109.266 run he got, he wasn't able to save. I think that just sort of was his swan song. I think he just, he wanted to tear down, rest up, and be ready for the final tomorrow, which I can't blame him for.
Yeah, not at all. I think he's definitely worked hard to get where he is. I think he's doing quite well. And Sebi's now posted that Y-Cruncher score, which actually bumped Sen's down. So there's only a 4-point spread between Demon and Sens. So I think Demon was actually more upset that he couldn't get the next highest score to take down Sens, because that would have put him up to 60 points.
Yeah, so he would have qualified in first, right?
No, I'm wrong. That would have put him up to 56 points. And so he would have been 1 point behind Sens.
Well, has 109.260, and that's currently worth 60 points. And Demon's unsaved run was a 109.260. So, no, it would have been enough for first place overall.
Second place behind Sens, I believe. But oh wait, no.
No, as in second place in that stage, but enough extra points to get first overall.
Correct. That would have. So I think that's what he wanted, which I gotta applaud the like being disappointed not getting first. Like that's the kind of spirit of a champion. But he's got tomorrow to pull it off.
I believe I'm right in saying that has very, very minor implications in the sense that this comp, as in the live qualifier, is defined as a comp in the hardware bot engine, and finishing first gets you competition points for the season and career ranking. So maybe that's what he was actually shooting for.
That could be. That very well could be. Okay, Sebi. Okay, hard crash. Sebi, you hard crashed. Go to evolve. Please.
Please. Pull your output card. Come on. Do the sensible thing.
Goodness.
Please. End the suffering.
Does he not realize he hasn't run one of the benchmarks? Maybe he just doesn't realize.
I mean, it's certainly within the realm of possibility that he has a lag. Like he, at some point earlier in the stream where we totally missed it, produced sort of placeholder score that's good enough. that hasn't been subbed yet, but I find that far-fetched because Evolve, requires, unless you're BSO, it requires you to pull the card and do a few other things, reconfigure the OS. That would surprise me.
Yeah, he's booting into OS. Please just open Evolve. Do not forget there's another benchmark required.
Okay,
Black Dot would thank you for forgetting.
Wow. Sebi.
No.
Someone needs to tell him. The ranking is on a screen behind him. He can't keep doing this.
You gotta be kidding me!
He's got 20 minutes. He's got... And he's not really getting anywhere anyway, so it's senseless in for two different reasons.
Yeah, throw up a bad Evolve score and you'll qualify. Like, it doesn't have to be good. I need to try to be quieter. I think the wife is sleeping in the other room and I need to not make too much noise. She'll be mad at me. But holy cow. Oh, he's stressing me out, man.
I mean, if this ends up being the difference between him qualifying and not, he'll be the first person who doesn't qualify in this comp where I'll say, well, it's totally deserved. He could have run Evolve. So he better know what he's doing because he'll be opening himself up to a lot of criticism if he doesn't know what he's doing. And, he's been a bencher long enough to know that not filling a stage is highly penalized because you basically get 40 plus points for free just for clicking run.
Yeah, the other thing is Evolve, we've seen plenty of times Evolve has crashed. So that's entirely within the realm of possibility that his first run doesn't even pass.
Remember when Demon initially ran Evolve? He was at stock and he did like 10 reruns before he got a pass. So yeah, you're totally right. I just wouldn't be playing with fire like this. It's totally unnecessary. It's kind of a sequencing issue. Like, there's nothing to stop him from going back to Y Cruncher as soon as he has the placeholder. Why not get the placeholder first? And then whatever his remaining balance of time is, yeah, go to town, use all that on 5B if you really have that itch. But right now, he's really risking way too much.
Yeah, this is not worth it. This is totally not worth it. Black Dot might be jumping up and down in his boots once he sees what's going on.
Yeah, that's insane.
Oh my goodness.
It's also one of the long benchmarks. If he was just getting the itch to like rerun 1M like 5 or 6 times, I'd be like, okay, that's not a lot of time spent. But he's rerunning a 2+ minute bench several times, not getting anywhere with one more stage to come. I mean, this is kind of not good time management, to say the least.
Not at all. And it's literally just watching the timer tick down to, like, I don't know. It's just it makes my skin crawl watching this happen.
Those Americans, eh?
Oh my gosh. Please,
what's
just
he doing?
Evolve now.
Pull the card. He pulled the card. He just pulled the card. He's doing Evolve. I think he's doing Evolve.
Good.
Thank goodness. I just saw him, my own 2 eyes, swap the cable from the card to the USB out. I think he's switching to Evolve. And it's high time he's doing that because he has 16 minutes left to produce a score.
Oh, I think League just looked at him and was like, why haven't you run Evolve? And Giuseppe was like, I'm getting ready to do it. I think that's literally what happened.
He probably said in that exact tone of voice as well.
Yeah.
Jadic is enough. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Is like egging on a competitor to beat him. That's how cringy the situation is.
Wow.
What's up going on? Well, literally no one's benching. Let's quickly go back to the world record stage. It'll take a tiny bit of time for Sebi to get set up for Evolve. He does have to wait for a lengthy posting process because the motherboard has to realize that there's a new display out now and kind of train that up. He has to fully reboot, like boot back into OS. He may have to do that config change we've seen several benchers do, and then that requires another reboot. So we're a few minutes off even seeing him launch the benchmark. So I'm predicting 5 o'clock on the dot, maybe around the time he first presses run. So he's cutting it very tight.
So looking at the rankings, he has to get 45 points, which is taking down Spokey's score. Spokey was running 4800 memory CL32.
And look at this, he's just still messing with cables. He's not even physically set up yet for the bench, never mind OS-wise.
Jeez.
This is...
Oh, he's breaking my heart.
It may still work out, but it's still... that's what they call in the business, in the psychology sort of business and the sports psychology sort of area. They call this results-orientated thinking, which is even if it does work out, that doesn't mean that his approach was correct. Like, he is taking unnecessary risks here.
Yeah, absolutely. He spent a good 15 minutes longer on Y Cruncher than he should have.
And you and I both kind of got the sense that it wasn't going anywhere. That run he got was, to me, like a pop. Like it kind of was a lucky run to some degree. Like, I don't think that run, like even the moment it popped up, I got the sense that it wasn't easily replicated. Never mind beat. And that was the moment it popped up. Never mind 15 minutes later where he was just going absolutely nowhere, you know, timing here, timing there. It was easy to predict that he wasn't going to improve his record. And even if he was, it wasn't really worth it, you know.
Yeah, I agree. It was wasted time, and now he's down to 13 minutes and counting, and he's not even in OS right now. So.
Yeah. I mean, I thought I was being conservative with my prediction of 5 o'clock on the dot for the first run, but he may even run the first time out, you know, later than that. And the run, how do we expect the run to be? I think it's like at least a minute run. He's all he has to do pass a stock run, and that may actually be asking too much at this point because he's under such a time crunch. This is crazy.
Well, and it looks like he's having struggle rebooting, which is also something you can always run into. You never know with these systems that take
I actually don't know why he's pouring. Why is he pouring? He can put up an air score. Just stop pouring. You've got a heater on there. Stay at like -20 on both pots. Don't risk extra condensation.
Okay, he's in OS.
Okay. I said the first run will be at 5 o'clock. Let's see how my prediction holds up. We're 2 minutes away. Okay, I was...
Oh, that's bad. Look at that FPS.
It just ticked over to 459, so I was about 65 seconds away from
He's
bang
got to
on.
reboot. Yeah, he's got to reboot because the I think his iGPU clocks are too low.
But hold on, wouldn't having that run finish been enough for him to qualify?
No.
Okay, he does beat a few
that
people.
Would have been slower than Spokey's.
So he
doesn't need to push hard, but he does need to push a little.
So he's in this really uncomfortable middle ground where he only has the time for placeholders, basically, but he needs something that's slightly better than a placeholder.
Yeah. Okay, let's see if he figured out why his run was so slow. He's in OS.
Right. Ooh, and now the capture card drops.
Oh man, so we don't even get to see it? Ah, rough. Okay, he's running the benchmark. I can see it from here. But we can't actually see it live.
Let me try to reinitialize the capture card, but I don't think that's going to do anything.
Is Paul up there? I might be able to get him to give us a live update on score. If anyone can contact somebody on the stage to give us a live update on score, that would be awesome because our capture card is dropped. Yeah, there's Paul. I'm going to DM him.
He's still running. I can see the little info window on the bottom right of his screen.
I'm putting Paul to work. He's pulling out his phone to check the message I just sent him.
We have Lee.
He's shaking his head.
Lee crouched down. Yeah, the bench is still running. I can see motion on the monitor, and it's not tanking FPS. So I assume if you can finish and save this score, it's enough. But we are at 1 minute past the hour, so extremely tight margins time-wise now.
Okay, so Paul can't see it either, obviously, because he's on the other side of the desk, but... Did you get a score out?
Yeah, I think it did. Yeah, oh.
Nope, he's rerunning.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
All right, I'm running out there, and I will give a thumbs up to the camera. He's beaten it, I guess. I don't know what else to do.
Okay. We'll keep an eye on it. This stuff's getting tight. That's not the angle we need.
Okay.
There we go.
As long as I'm in frame, how am I going to do this? Okay, I'll go out here. You guys can zoom in on your side if you need to. And I'll go out and see what's going on.
Okay, sounds good. We've got a reconnaissance guy here for us. This is so close, man. It's got 8 minutes left in the session. He's got to spit out a score, and it looks like... Did he just reboot? I think he just rebooted. Oh my goodness. Did he crash? He's torching up. He's torching up. That's not good. He's in rough shape. Wow. I don't know what to think, guys. Looks like Unity's walking his way back. Holy cow. Said that he was having issues launching the bench.
There's basically nothing to report on. As soon as I got view of his monitor, he was torching it up. So I don't know what the issue is, but it doesn't really matter what the issue is. He doesn't have the time to fix it, basically. So I'm tempted to say provisionally Black Dot is through, because I just don't see this coming together on time, you know? I just don't.
We'll see. I'll be right back, but I think there's a chance. I still have hope.
Oh, I mean, there's always a chance, but you know, it's just so hard to diagnose this sort of thing. So there's a run going now. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna go back out there. I didn't know if his rig was gonna come back up or not. It kind of looked like he was having issues, but I'll go back out there.
Back. So just so everyone knows, the score to beat is 4925. That's what he's got to beat. So we're keeping an eye on it. Obviously, they're going to find out before we do. So Unity is keeping an eye on things for us. It's just, this is so intense. I don't know what to say. Is he running the benchmark? I assume he's running the benchmark. Oh, Black Dot's sitting there looking for some info too. He's 5 minutes left. Yep, 5 minutes left. Which I think he can get one run in and then one rerun. But I don't think he can reboot and then rerun. So we are definitely on the cusp here. Has to be, what did I say, 49.25. So he needs a 49.26. 49.25 won't cut it. He has to get 49.26 minimum to win. Let's go. Uh-oh. Oh, it looks like he crashed again. Because Unity's on his way back. Oh, no.
That run finished, but it was a 48.56, so I think we're basically on the verge to calling it, because not only do you have to get his run out, it has to be faster than his current run, and I don't know what tweaks he can possibly apply in 4 minutes to achieve that. I just don't think. Yeah, okay. I was just going to check on the capture card, but I think it's official. Black Dot was in front of the stage, asking me how the run is going. The run looks smooth enough, but it's obviously hard to distinguish with an untrained eye the difference between a 48.50 and a 49.50. But yeah, we have our three finalists. I'm calling it.
I'm not calling it till all of the time is up. Sebi's been known to pull out some tweaks.
Oh, you fanboy.
Hey, I'm allowed to. I don't think he's in OS though, so that's a big issue, and he's got less than 3 minutes left.
So
he has to get.
This rule hardly ever applies, but I believe I'm right in saying that these competitions are run similar to qualifying in F1 in the sense that any started lap counts, even if the timer expires. Mm-hmm. I think that's how this works, but even getting the right pace of run going within the next 3 minutes, I think is too tall a task for him right now.
Yeah, he's not even booted yet.
Yeah.
Oh no. He just spent too much time on Y Cruncher. Oh no. He's even, look at his, he's even saying
and deserved qualification by Black Dot. He had a game plan that made sense. He was smiling. He didn't spend too much time on any bench. We at no point criticized Black Dot for spending too much time on a bench. We criticized plenty of the other benchers for that. And Sebi, the worst offender, before we knew what it would cause in terms of a result, and especially now that he's cost himself the final.
Yeah, I'm thinking you're right. We might have to call it because he's not even in OS yet. He has 2 minutes left to get in OS, get his tweaks done, and get the benchmark started. I don't see it happening, and Black Dot beats him by 1 point.
Is that taking into account this 48 whatever that I just told you about? Or
yes.
I'm not sure I saved it because it wasn't enough. So Sebi will not finish. They
posted it.
Okay. All right, that's fine. It doesn't really matter, right? I mean, it does matter for the prize money, but this is not what we're aiming for here. He clearly wanted to qualify for the final, and his suboptimal game plan has cost him that.
Yep, he's down to less than a minute. He's done. I am with you. There's no chance of him getting into OS and getting the benchmark running before the time limit. It's just got way too caught up with Y Cruncher. I don't know what he was thinking.
Why is he even pouring anymore? I mean, it's over.
Look at League. League looks so disappointed.
Oh, the bad toss. Oh my God! Someone clipped that. It's a disaster of his own making. It really is. I'm sorry. Like there's just no excuse. You gotta have some awareness of what's required, And to leave an entire stage unsubbed this late is just inexcusable.
Well, and that's what I've been saying all week long. Bad subs are better than no subs, and that's exactly what we got. Black Dot, I'm not saying Black Dot subs were bad. I mean, he's in the top 4 in almost every category. Top 4 and top 6, and top 2. But yeah, Sebi he did not. And to be fair, Sebi did put up a bad score in that evolve stage. Yes. But he had to improve just a little bit. He just did not allocate his time well.
So to the left of our screen was Smoke, aka Vlad, who has been mentoring Demon. So he must be happy that his mentee has made it into the final tomorrow. So now that it's no longer speculation, barring, of course, any kind of pulled subs, moderation, and the like, we have our finalists. It's no longer a repeat of the previous year. We have Sens, Black Dot, and Demon. So 2 first-time finalists. And actually, I'm extremely glad by that result, because if you think back to last year when we were co-commentating, Demon and Black Dot were on the bubble. They, I believe, if I'm remembering right, finished 4th and 5th. And they were not super close, but very much in the mix till the very end, and then were beaten out by the usual lineup of Sebi, Sens, and Bisso. So now we only have Sens returning to the final. And the crazy thing is, he's only returning because Bisso, who is not in the final, was nice enough of a human being to come to the exhibition center with a spare board. Without the spare board, Sens would have been dead in the water. So that's if there is a sportsmanship award for this competition, it has to go to Bisso, because I'm not sure you or I would have gone to those lens.
I absolutely would not have. And the other thing I want to shout out Bisso for is that 32M run that still stands. Yeah. That was an incredible run. Even the likes of Demon and Sebi could not take him down. So he is the 32M king as far as I'm concerned. Hard times for Sebi. I'm sad for him, but like you said, he kind of did it to himself. And Black Dot managed his time properly. And yeah, Demon, congrats to him. His 2nd year running is making Black Dot and Demon both 2nd year running getting into the finals. So I want to give some encouragement to the likes of Day, Spokey, and Hansky. You may not have done well this year, but come back next year. Could be in the finals. So keep it up.
Yeah, and the honorable mention, both the sportsmanship award and the honorable mention does go to Bisso, because we have to kind of cast our minds back to yesterday. He didn't have any targets to hit. He was in the unenviable position of being in the first group out of 3 to do the 2nd session. And we can't really fault him. We can kind of fault him for his valid. That is an unnecessary risk to only sub 10,000 and whatever. But besides that, he put up runs that looked good enough at the time, but ended up not being good enough. So he's been very vocal of his criticism of the format, and he's kind of vindicated, because I didn't meet a single person who said after Bisso's runs that they weren't going to be good enough. We have a group chat ongoing with the Aussie overclockers. Everyone said Bisso's on fire. I talked to some of the judges. They said, man, that Bisso guy is a machine. You and I talked about it. Nobody said, wow, I don't know if that's going to be enough to qualify. It didn't end up being enough to qualify, but he was certainly disadvantaged by the format, wasn't he?
Absolutely. And the other, I do want to say one thing about Sebi. Sebi had an uphill battle today. So the fact that he got as close as he did, considering he needed to sub 5 of the 6 stages with a new CPU that he hadn't really benched before, he did well, but he could have done better. So yeah, good showing, but just a little bit better time management would have netted him the finals.
We've got 2 of our 3 finalists in frame right now. Demon in the foreground, and Black Dot on his phone. So,
yep.
And it's good to see. And they're the 2 new finalists. We all know what Sens looks like because he's been there before twice. Yeah, I'm glad it's not a rerun of the previous year, which is kind of what happened last year. I'm glad to see on in the. I mean, my 2 sort of spots are Beso and Demon, and they both had an excellent showing this year, and I'm happy that one of them made it. Demon is a machine the same way Beso is a machine. Sebi is also a machine, but sometimes a machine that sort of malfunctions in some ways.
Yeah, I can't fault him too much for getting tunnel vision, because I'm not even sure he was keeping that close of an eye on the clock, and he was very close to taking gold in Y Cruncher. It's just you gotta see the bigger picture sometimes. So, and I think that kind of thing can happen to any bencher. It's heartbreaking to see it at this stage, when the stakes are this high.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just asking a judge when we can expect the picking of the stages for tomorrow. If it's soon, we maybe stay online. If it's a protracted process, then I guess we'll go live a little bit early tomorrow and talk about it then. Yeah, will the stages be picked soon? I'm also not sure. I mean, it's really tough to pick like a favorite for the final, because Sens was able to turn it on really, really, really quickly, but also he didn't have a flawless session 1. He and I don't think that was an act. He really looked dissatisfied in session 1. And the only thing that saved his session 2 was a text to a competitor. I can't, in good conscience, pick him as my favorite, because it's weird. He finished first, but he had a lot of bumps along the way. So I think, benchmark selection will matter a lot. But I'm now going to go on the record and say Demon is my pick for the champion. No dithering and delaying here. No equivocating. Matt, please, right now, right here, before the stages are even announced, pick your favorite for not who you want to win, but who you actually think will win.
I'm gonna have to join you with Demon, to be completely honest. My logic is, like you said, Sens had rough sessions both times. Black Dot and Demon both showed massive improvements from sessions 1 to sessions 2 and didn't have the same issues. So as far as reliability goes, you got to give it to them, and as far as improvement goes, you got to give it to them. Sens just had a massive show up, but I guarantee you a lot of that was settings he already had saved. So they're obviously good settings. He's obviously a talented bencher, 2-time world champion, can't sleep on him. But Black Dot and Demon both showed massive improvements. Demon only, 4 points behind Sens in the qualifiers. I think he's got a real shot.
Yeah, and D is right to point out that Demon actually had the score to move into first. He just wasn't able to save it. As much, like, I can't sort of fault Black Dot's performance, but I don't feel like I've seen enough to pick him as my favorite. I already gave my reasons why I'm not picking Sens. So kind of by default it's Demon, but he's had a pretty flawless performance. I mean, and I feel like there's something left in the tank too. You know, it's the fact that he tore down before the end of the session. It's almost like he was pacing himself. You know, the earlier you tear down, the earlier you can prepare for the final.
Yeah, I would say I think a lot of that was frustration, but he also I think it was I know when to quit. Like, I'm not improving. I may have gotten the score, but I can't even save it. I'm not going to waste more time on this. Demon and Black Dot both managed their time well, as did Sens. So I think Demon he's in the right headspace to win. And I do think the tenacious nature in which he went after that 7-zip score also shows that he's got the right mindset to win.
Yeah. It's gonna be a protracted process picking bench, so I think we'll just have to, discuss that in the morning or throw it into the Discord once available. I think, considering the venue shut off the power in 25 minutes time, I think it's probably best we call it quit at this point. It's been a long day, but the afternoon session certainly delivered. The morning session more in sort of drama, in a drama sense, but the afternoon session had amazing benching within it, and some pretty boneheaded decisions, I have to say.
It certainly had its suspense, but yeah, I'm okay with us calling it for the night because I am utterly exhausted. So,
all right, well, have a
good
sleep. Thanks everyone for watching, and we'll be back tomorrow. Same time, same place, and just as a gentle reminder, in case anyone is tempted to set an alarm clock for the afternoon session, there will not be an afternoon session because there's only one session tomorrow, which is the final.